You're thinking of sitting on his knee, are you? Or what? Is that right? Is that right? Okay, good to go. Council, staff, ladies and gentlemen of the gallery, welcome very much to our Wednesday meeting, December 14th. Today's meeting is being held as a hybrid meeting. Some of us may be joining us virtually. Members of the public are invited to participate in this meeting electronically by contacting the clerk to receive a registration link to join the meeting electronically. Members of the public may also attend in person at the municipal office at 153 McKellar Street, Glencoe. Today's meeting is streamed live and it will be recorded and published on the Southwest Middlesex YouTube channel and website. Before we begin, we will give a land acknowledgement from Southwest Middlesex. We begin this gathering by acknowledging that the land upon which we meet is a traditional territory of First Nations people who have a long-standing relationship with the land, water, and region of our area. We convey our respect to our Indigenous neighbors and thank them for their contributions to our culture, our community, and our past, and partnerships that we will develop in the future. Council, is there any member declaring a pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move on. Additions to the agenda. Are there any? Okay, Council, I wish your position, the privilege of moving the bylaws ahead of the closed session. Are there any objections to that? It just is more convenient for staff and those watching virtually. Okay, we will not require a motion for that. It's just a courtesy that we're extending. Delegations and presentations. 4A is your Wardsville. We're delighted to have our Ward 3 community present tonight. Please come forward. Kendra will direct you as to where to sit. And Denise, you're the spokesperson, are you? Good. Will you come up, make yourself right at home? And we look forward to hearing your message. And Mary, thank you very much for coming as well. It's good to see you. You're a team. That's good. We're a team. Here, we're a team.
So I just go ahead? Oh, thank you. Okay. I'm going to be formal here, I guess. Mayor Mayu and councillors, thank you so much for allowing me to come and speak here tonight. I would like to thank all of you for your willingness to serve and dedication to Southwest Middlesex. We are all valued members of Southwest Middlesex. As a community, we all share the same goals and values as we come together for the common good of all people. Your Wardsville and myself look forward to working with each and every one of you in the upcoming years. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for extending the contract with Ashley Parker. She is a valuable member of Southwest Middlesex Recreation Team. Ashley has been a great support to the Wardsville Community Organization. You have my letter in front of you dated November the 11th. I would like to offer a few points that I would like to submit to council. One, to continue to offer and create affordable recreational programming for all of Southwest Middlesex, including the hubs of Melbourne, Appin, Wardsville, and Middlesex. Programming should be inclusive and diverse for all residents. Ukulele classes, Zumba, Holy Board, the launch of a camera club. These are just a few examples of really good programming that we could use in our communities. Your Wardsville is suggesting that Southwest Middlesex facilitate educational workshops, courses, and support for nonprofits and service clubs in better using social media. Communication regarding Southwest Middlesex programming and other community programs needs to be more cohesive and accessible in our municipality. Messaging and public announcements and communication is at a historical low with a loss of our newspapers. Your Wardsville is suggesting some form of digital bulletin boards in highly visible locations in all hubs of Southwest Middlesex. This type of tool could be used by Southwest Middlesex, service clubs, and nonprofit organizations to improve communication throughout the municipality. At this time, that was my 3 points. At this time, I would like to wish you all and your families a wonderful holiday time. It is people who define our communities. It is us, it is we, and it is you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Denise, very much. It's enjoyable to hear positive things coming from the municipality. As councilors, we always don't hear positive things, and we really appreciate that. We're pleased that the activities are being utilized in that area, and council has endorsed that for a period of time to continue. We are facilitators of these various functions. And communication, they say, is the root of all evil. And we realize that communications are they're different things to different people. Some want that newspaper, but as you are well aware, the digital communications reach many people in very expedient time. And the digital board, great idea. I know the one at the high school, I never drive by without looking at it. They are a significant cost. You're looking at 15 to 20,000 for a digital board of that type. And I'm sure council, if they have any questions you'd like to direct to your Wardsville. Yes, Councillor Choi, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I was wondering, we don't have the letter in front of us. Could you touch on the quotes, I believe, from the residents on the importance of recreation?
The scenarios, the 3 scenarios?
Yes, please.
Scenario 1, the family has 4 children under the age of 12. The family has limited funds for any of the kids to attend skating or play hockey. The parent's vehicle is old. Dad works away from the home and fuel is expensive. The Southwest Middlesex Children's Program in Wardsville is the only program these kids can attend. Scenario number 2, I am a young mother with a full-time job raising children alone. I feel guilty that I can't find the time to volunteer. I do appreciate that Southwest Middlesex offers a recreational program for my kids once a week in my community. Scenario number 3, I am new in town. I'm having a hard time meeting new people and I'm feeling really isolated. I feel that my new neighbors are ignoring me. I feel that maybe moving here was the wrong decision. Getting involved in the Walking and Wellness program has helped me to get to know more people in our community. So these are 3 examples of things that I heard from people in Wardsville alone.
Yep, thank you, Councillor Choi, for that inquiry. It was informative, those 3 scenarios. Any further questions? Denise, I just want to thank you again for that. Just a couple of things before you go. Please be aware that the Can I Play 2 program finances sports activities in Southwest Middlesex, and that is a tremendous program that is for those who can't afford the fees for activities, and it goes way beyond athletic activities. It can be dance, it can be the scouting or guiding program, it can be even music programs. They will, the municipality will finance that confidentially. We budget that every year, and there are a number of families who take advantage of that. even I as mayor do not know who those individuals are. I sign the checks, but they're payable to the recreation aspects of Southwest Middlesex. So the Can I Play Too program is very good. So if you have any in your municipality who are struggling financially and have children, this is an avenue for them to put their children in almost any activity. If you contact staff, they will certainly inform you of that as well. Okay.
So the process is, it's accessible through,
It's
Southwest.
accessible through staff. There will be some income verification, and I'm going to pass it over to Kristen. She's more knowledgeable on this, and I'll pass it on to administration, and she'll give you a very brief scenario on it.
I think we have an application on our website that parents can print off and fill in and then just submit to the office, and we'll be in contact from there.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right.
Good.
Mary? Mary's the other.
minutes left do we have in our?
Oh, we'll give you a few, Mary. No problem. I mean, we don't want a solo or anything like that right now, but yeah, you go ahead.
Well, I'm just chiming in on behalf of Creative Communities, our little community support group that we work with community organizations to help them adapt and work together and learn new ways of working together. Or one of the things I guess we would love to offer to council is to help learn about the new agile ways of dynamic governance, which really feeds into how council and staff can learn new ways of collaborating, communicating. For example, I think one of the a good example of what might be the Masonic Hall. One organization owns the hall, another organized, Southwest Middlesex, manages the hall, and different community groups are trying to use the hall. So I know we all share the goal of reducing red tape and bureaucracy. So what if we created a circle, and there were 2 members of Masons on the circle, 2 members of Southwest Middlesex, maybe a council member, the key staff person, a couple members from the community, maybe another person. And those 7 people are delegated and authorized and have the tools and are entrusted with making all the decisions around how to manage maintenance, where to put the money, who's going to do what, a booking system, so that then the community can use that hall in a seamless way. And there aren't 2 groups bumping in it, trying to use it at the same time without realizing. There's wonderful, great ways of stepping up our game, coming out of the pandemic in a better place, which is kind of what we all want. And so Creative Communities, our team, and that are kind of, I know I'm getting accreditation in dynamic governance. It's very exciting. That's what this software community organizations that are helping us with these quickly moving online systems work in these ways. And it's all about trusting one another and recognizing we have the skills, the expertise, incredible people living in this community. We don't have to go hire consultants. We got it right here in this room in Southwest Middlesex to be the best and to be the leaders.
Okay.
And
Conclusion soon. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Council, in respect to that, we have made some significant progress in the way we handle our facilities. And as you indicated, we do not own that building. So our autonomy is not 100%, as you are aware. And there may be some shortcommes I am not currently aware of, but we hope that through our new municipal website and a communication officer on staff, that any problems that have existed in the past. Hope that we're moving in the right direction to solve them. What I can do is that I can have staff look at that. Mike, could you chime in here? Would staff be interested in doing just a modest investigation into that hall aspect? What would you like to add to that?
Thank you, Your Worship. Absolutely. I think it's something that it's difficult when a delegation comes to council for the council to immediately react to that. So my words to the mayor were that perhaps staff take a look at the circle you're talking about, or forming a little bit of a group, because it is in essence a committee, or who would sit on that. So I think it's worth stepping back, saying who should sit there, who should come to the table. You've outlined it very, very well. And I think it's worth putting the time into to see what could happen to advocate for that community and the needs that are there, for sure.
And it should, the need has to be established. And as a Mason who uses that hall, there is an element of secrecy about masonry, which is not as secret as it used to be. If you go on Google, there's not much you can't find about masonry. But there's two lodges that currently meet there, Wardsville and Lauren Lodge, and that may change to 3 in the future. So they certainly will have to be part of the equation, and they will have to bring it to their membership as well. Council, could I have a motion that staff review the comments made and come back with a report? Would someone be interested in making that motion? Thank you. Yeah. Ed, Councillor Myers, and a seconder for that, Councillor Vink. Questions? In favor? Carried. And there's no urgent timeline on that, Mary, but we generally work in a relatively efficient manner. Thank you.
Best of luck on the coming 4 years.
Oh, we're looking forward to 1,437 days left. Who's counting, eh? Mike, I don't see any more delegations on here, so I think we can proceed to the consent agenda. Thank you, Kendra. The consent agenda is before you. I will read them. Council, if any of you want these extracted from the agenda, if it's not a complex motion, we can deal with it immediately. If it is complex, we'll move it to new business, okay? 5A, Southwest Middlesex, November 23rd meeting minutes. Southwest Middlesex vouchers totaling $940,585.74. Southwest Middlesex third quarter building report showing $8,939,000 of construction. Four Counties 5D, Four Counties Hospital newsletter. Council, it's important that in that newsletter, I'd like to speak to that briefly. They're going for an appeal of $189,500 in medical equipment. Could I have a motion that we ask our communications officer if she can find some place to fit this on our website to help Four Counties promote that as well? It can be part of a community announcement or something to that effect, but there's very good graphics in that communication that we received, and I'm hoping that there will be a spot on our website that we can assist Four Counties in acquiring that just less than 200,000. Councillor Scholdice, you'll move that. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Haggett, discussion? All in favor? Carried. That be forwarded to our communications officer to see what she can do. 5E, City of Stratford Resolution CN Rail, increased service levels in regard to rail travel. Yes, Mark.
Yep, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I think we should support this one, especially when the Via Rail stops here in Glencoe.
It is. I think that's an excellent idea. It was on my list to pull out. This Via Rail stop is the only stop between London and Chatham. And I think that continuation of service is good. Councillor McGill, you'll make that a motion, and will there be a seconder for that? Councillor McCollum, discussion? All in favor that we endorse Stratford's resolution. 5F, Enbridge Gas, letter to council. Council, I'd like to pull that out as well. Normally, we don't act on a thank you letter, but or a congratulatory letter, but I would like to thank them for the communication and urge them to consider gas in rural agricultural sectors of Southwest Middlesex, and in particular to re-examine the potential of gas delivery to Old Drive between Dundonald and Melbourne Road. I think that gas, if you looked at it past surveys, connectivity was and natural gas were two of the foremost wishes of our agricultural sector. And I would like to take the opportunity of receiving this communication to reply to them. Thank you for your kind words. And we want you to realize that the rural sector is very interested in acquiring natural gas supplies, and that the area of Oldie Drive, Dundonald and Melbourne Town Road be re-examined. We were close to getting gas on that road, but there just wasn't enough provincial funding. But would someone make that motion? Martin, you're twitching there. Are you? Good. Thank you. Councillor Vink made the motion, seconded by Councillor McGill. Questions? All in favor? And Mike, if I can give you background on that, don't hesitate to ask, okay? 5G, St. Clair Region Conservation Authority highlights. None. We have a recommendation that the council for Middlesex, Southwest Middlesex, receive the consent agenda through items A to G, and to take action on the items that were mentioned. I believe there were 3 items. Mover for that, please. Good, thank you. And seconded by Councillor Choi. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. Committee of Adjustment Council has been pulled. So we can go on to a public meeting. And Stephanie, we're delighted to have you here with us this evening, and we're interested in hearing about this application, and I'll let you lead the way.
Thank you. I just wanted to start off by formally introducing myself to some of the new faces around our horseshoe this evening. So my name is Stephanie Poirier. I'm from the County of Middlesex, and I provide planning services to Southwest Middlesex. I have been here for about 5 years now, offering my services. So with that being said, welcome to the new members, and nice to see the existing faces as well. I should also share my map with the public and the audience, so bear with me. There we go. All right, so the purpose and effect of the application is to amend the zoning on the subject lands, which is highlighted on yellow on the screen up above, or if you're on your computer joining us, on your screen in front of you. So the intent of the application is to rezone the subject lands from the M3-3 zone to actually permit an additional use of a dog kennel, in addition to the already permitted use of a dog pound. So in terms of background, the subject lands formerly housed a dog pound known as the Glencoe Animal Shelter, which ceased to exist as of June of 2022. The ownership has since changed hands, and the current property owners are looking to establish a dog kennel in order to allow for the housing, grooming, breeding, boarding, training, or sale of dogs. And that is in accordance to the definition of dog kennel within the Southwest Middlesex zoning bylaw. The owners have advised that they own personally 7 dogs and advised that the building formerly used to house dogs that is existing on the lands does have the capacity to accommodate 27 dogs in total. The current zoning of the lands does permit a dog pound, which by definition allows for impounding of dogs, but does not as of right permit a dog kennel. And in order to obtain a kennel license from the municipality, one of the requirements in the animal control bylaw is to have the proper zoning in place first. So therefore, the intent of this request to add that specific use to this property is in order to ultimately obtain a kennel license in accordance to the animal control bylaw. The provincial policy statement, the county official plan, and the Southwest Middlesex official plan permit agricultural related uses such as dog kennels in the agriculturally designated areas subject to criteria, including but not limited to land use compatibility and impacts on agriculture. And generally, just as at a high level, dog kennels are generally permitted outside of our settlement areas for land use compatibility purposes. So the current owners are looking to use the existing structures, which as mentioned has the capacity for up to 27 dogs. And no new buildings or structures are being proposed at this time as part of this application. The county official plan and Southwest Middlesex official plan, as well as the Southwest Middlesex animal control bylaw, require dog kennels containing 10 or more dogs to be subject to site plan control, as mentioned, in order to ensure land use compatibility with surrounding land uses. As such, as part of this rezoning request, staff recommends that a holding provision be placed on the subject lands, which will require the completion of site plan control in accordance with the official plan documents, as well as the animal control bylaw. It is anticipated through the site plan process that buffering and noise mitigation measures would be examined through the site plan and subsequently or concurrently the kennel licensing process. Dog kennels as defined within the Southwest Middlesex zoning bylaw are permitted in the general agricultural A1 zone and require a minimum distance from a dwelling located on a separate lot of 300 meters, as well as a minimum distance from a settlement area of 450 meters. Staff have applied the same standards when evaluating the new proposed kennel, and note that the kennel does maintain the required 450 meter setback from the settlement area of Glencoe. However, the existing building that is proposed to be used for a kennel is located approximately 92 meters from a dwelling located on a separate lot. And as such, the applicants have applied to include or recognize that existing distance within the site-specific zoning. The addition of a dog kennel as a permitted use will not increase the capacity of dogs permitted on the property. However, will expand the types of dog-related uses to permit housing, grooming, breeding, boarding, training, or sale of dogs. So I think it is important to note that today, in regards to the dog pound, it is permitted to have up to the 27 dogs in accordance to the animal, or subject to, I should say, the animal control bylaw. Staff generally do not anticipate additional impacts to the surrounding land uses with the addition of a dog kennel. And as mentioned, staff will continue to work with the applicant through the site plan and licensing process. Notice of the application was circulated in accordance to the requirements of the Planning Act, and staff received the following comments. The Ministry of Transportation had no objections, as the road is not under their jurisdiction. The Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority had no objections to the proposal. The county engineer has reviewed the application and had no comments. The chief building official has reviewed the application and has no objections. And it should be noted that subsequent to the completion of the planning report, staff did receive 2 public comments, which will be addressed in the written submissions portion of this meeting. If the applicants the members of the public are not here to speak on that matter on their behalf. So all that being said, it is recommended that the application be granted, again, with the application of the holding provision requiring the completion of site plan control. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie, very much. For the benefit of those who are not involved in planning on a day-to-day basis, there is a process that we go through to allow everyone to speak. The applicant, we take into consideration submissions to council. Council will discuss it, and then council will come to a decision. The second part is the applicant's remarks. Jody, are you with us today? Right there? Yeah. Would you like to come up, have a chat with council? You're certainly welcome to. You're okay? Okay. Well, listen, we welcome you to Southwest Middlesex. Okay. And we hope that we can find a resolve to this and accommodate you and accommodate the concerns of others. Okay. So we'll work in that direction, and we'll see how we make out with council. Kendra, are there any oral or written submissions? And if there are, would you be kind enough to read them? Or Stephanie or Kendra? Steph, go ahead. Yeah.
Certainly. So as previously mentioned in my planning presentation, staff did receive 2 letters from the members of the public, which I will now read for your consideration. So the first one states that, as a concerned neighbor, I would like to express my concerns about the current state of the former animal shelter property and what standards they will be held to. In the previous decades that Vicky operated the animal shelter, we had little to no disturbances due to the number of dogs that resided permanently or temporarily at the shelter. The current state of the animal shelter is quite to the contrary. The constant state of barking coming from what was the animal shelter is absolutely ridiculous, with dogs consistently and aggressively. Barking has become an issue in our home as we can hear it from inside our house. It has disrupted sleep and our daily life as a result of being a daily annoyance. Due to this, we are keeping track of some of the barking instances on a dog barking log that you have been provided us with. As well, to go along with the multiple dogs that reside there currently, there are still accepting dogs that are being dropped off like the animal shelter did before, as said by the owner of the property in a conversation we had with them. My understanding is that they still aren't licensed or zoned to do such at today's point in time. And I am concerned that if they do start operating the animal shelter in full capacity, that these issues will worsen. I would like to know if there are standards and regulations that an animal shelters are held to. If there are, I would like to see the standards and regulations that they will be following. Along with that, who will be enforcing these rules and keep the owners accountable for the quality of their operation? I feel that it would benefit the community to have an animal shelter if it is run according to the industry standards and in accordance with the bylaws in the municipality. If the shelter is not run in an organized and ethically fashion, it will be an extreme annoyance to those living in the immediate vicinity. So that was the first submission received. So I'll now proceed with the second written submission. So it states that we are writing in response to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment located at 3427 Concession Drive, requesting to add dog kennel to its list of permitted use. Let us begin by saying that our opinion is not personal in nature. We are fans of dogs and have two that we love dearly. We also recognize that there is a need for a dog pound in our community, and we support that service operating as it did previously. However, we do not support or want to see the property change from its previous title of dog pound to a dog kennel. We have resided in our home for 7 years now, during which time the dog pound was operating next door, and throughout those 7 years, not once were we bothered by excessive barking sounds. We believe this is because under the title of dog pound, there were not always dogs on the property, and when there were dogs present, their stay was usually only for a brief period. Compare this to present day, where there seems to be a considerable amount of barking coming from the property, and it is our understanding that the only dogs on the property presently are pets of the owners. Should the request to be zoned a dog kennel be granted, it stands to reason that there will be several dogs on the property at any given time, and as a result, it is a guarantee that barking will increase. We love our quiet country property, and in the warmer months, spend most of our time outside enjoying our pool. If there is a dog kennel located beside us, all of that will be disrupted and ruined. All of that, will be disrupted and ruined by the constant sound of barking. As we said above, we know that previous owners of the dog pound provided a useful service to our community, and we have no issues with the present owners reestablishing the same service. However, we do not feel our community needs a dog kennel used for housing, grooming, breeding, boarding, training, or sale of dogs, and we strongly request that this zoning bylaw amendment not be authorized. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. We have heard the planner, the applicant has not wished to speak. There have been the 2 oral submissions. Council, any discussion? Who would like to lead it off? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Vink.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. First of all, I wonder if we can ask the 2 letters, did they come from the 2 nearby properties?
I believe that is the case, yeah.
Through the mayor to the councillor, I don't believe I was provided with an address, so I don't have that. I cannot confirm that information. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I know the one was anyway, but anyway, you mentioned something about mitigating noise. We had a dog kennel, I know Councilor McCall will remember this, on Carolinian Drive. Richard and Ruth Ann Street were the operators, and they had to put in mitigating services to lessen the noise. So how would that be handled through this rezoning?
So through the mayor to the councillor, there's kind of a 2-part answer to this. So the first step in the process, I'll back up a step. So the animal control bylaw, in the process of obtaining a license, as well as the land uses that are outlined with policies in the Southwest Middlesex official plan, kind of go hand in hand. So there is similar requirements in both documents. So the requirement is to go through site plan control. So staff have recommended that the holding provision be put on the lands, which would require that exercise to be completed. In regards to what specific noise mitigation measures would be sought after, I cannot answer that for you this evening. It is a technical exercise that would involve engineering and noise specialists that would assist in that process. But it's certainly something that both the policy direction in the official plan and the process of obtaining a license through the animal control bylaw speaks to. Thank you.
Okay. So the removal of the H11A symbol is contingent on the owner entering into a site plan agreement with the municipality and address developer obligations and responsibilities. So we would trust that through that process, these concerns would be mitigated. Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Choi, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Through you to Stephanie. So prior, was it allowed to have the zoning of dog pound for the Glencoe Animal Shelter to operate as a shelter? And this is a newer thing that's put in place that we now require a dog kennel zoning?
So through the mayor to the counselor, so there is two different defined terms or uses within the zoning bylaw. So the dog pound just speaks to the impounding of dogs, and it's generally through a contract with the municipality, whereas a dog kennel can occur for two different reasons. So personally, as mentioned, if you personally own more than 3 dogs in the rural area, you are considered to classify as the need to obtain a kennel license, or as well commercially. So if there's interest in operating again and having more than 3 dogs on a property, then there's kind of two reasons. So the former use was considered to be a dog pound, whereas the applicants are looking to establish a dog kennel. So two different uses.
Council, any further discussion? Okay. Failing which, it comes to the time where council will make the decision. Oh, is there a question? I'm sorry, Martin, go ahead.
I just wondered if we could ask the applicants if they're aware that they would have to put mitigation services in their dog kennel.
Yep. Jody, any response to that regarding going through the process, or Mr. Bedore going through a site process to discuss and plan with the municipality as to how we could alleviate some of these concerns? That's correct. Yep. Okay, I'll pass that over to our co-CAO here, and perhaps they can clarify.
Yeah, I'm just going to help expedite the process. Getting into the workings of the individuals that own the property. They're going to have to go through a stringent application process, which not only staff, but some outside sources will have to be activated as well. Right now, today, they're just asking for you to take the recommendation as made by the planner, so they can get going through to the next steps. And that's the process from here will sort itself out.
Yeah.
Really.
Yep. We, as a council, we are kind of endorsing your wish, subject to the investigation and the expertise that will be called upon to see, how we can make this dream come true of yours and whether it's feasible. And you will learn through that process too. It's, if as the bylaws of our municipality indicate, and Stephanie reiterated a couple of times, more than 3 dogs, that we have to go through this process of investigation and discussion and site plan control to see how we can make that parcel of land accommodate the request. Council, do you need any clarification on Stephanie's recommendation? It is before you. I can read it if you require, if anyone does. Okay. Okay. The applicant for zoning bylaw P14/2022, which proposes to rezone the subject lands from site-specific rural industrial M33 zone to site-specific rural industrial holding in order to add dog kennel as an additional list of firms permitted use and to recognize the setback from the existing building. And the documentation has been provided in your agenda. Council, what's your wish on the recommendation? Yeah, okay. Councilor McCollum has moved the motion that the process begin. Is there a second? Councilor Vink. Discussion through the chair to Stephanie. Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand. Carried unanimously. Well, thank you very much, Jody, Mr. Fedor. We will see how this evolves, and I can assure you that staff will take you by the hand on this and walk you through it. Okay, that's our job. And theirs. We are at 8 staff reports. Fire Chief Sewell. It's good to see you this evening.
Appreciate the time to bring this report forward. It'll be fairly short and sweet. We bought a new rescue truck in 2022 to replace an aging 2001 Freightliner, and we're looking to deem it surplus through council based on the disposal of surplus and obsolete asset policy dated October 27th, 2021. And we're looking at posting on our website. We've had an appraisal done on the vehicle, and we'll be selling it as is. And we look for to be posting in the near future into the new year, and we'll be having a process of sealed bids and awarding it through our internal process.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions from council through the chair to our chief? Yes, Deputy Mayor Scholdice.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm just wondering where all would we advertise it?
At this point, we're looking at posting on our website on to the public through the web and also in Gov Deals.
Thank you.
Yes, and Mike, would you like to weigh in here?
I don't want to overstep, but at the same time, I think I'm going to jump in here, Chief Schul. I would say one or the other. I would recommend that you go with Gov Deals, put it on there. You'll hit a wider variety of people, and you won't confuse the people coming in to say it's over here, and your bidding stays aligned, and everybody knows where you're at. So that would be my recommendation, a slight amendment to the recommendation.
I agree with the acting CEO to Gov Deals to avoid any confusion.
Okay, thank you. Make a note. They're a great organization, and very often they acquire more money as well. Council, any further questions? Would someone entertain that the recommendation be accepted as presented? Councillor Myers, seconder for that. Councillor Haggett, discussion. Seeing none, all in favor of the disposal of the surplus asset? Carried. Eight B is in regard to the Masonic Lodge lease. The recommendations before you. Kristen, could you walk us through this, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Our lease, current lease with the Masonic Hall is due to expire at the end of the year here. And I was just bringing it to council's attention that we could extend for a couple of years until such time as we figure out what we're doing with the fire hall, potentially in Wardsville, and whether or not we want to have a multi-use facility there. So this will give us a couple of more years in that existing building. As you heard earlier, it's used quite extensively in the programming on a weekly basis.
Okay. Council, any questions through the chair to Kristen? And we're looking at a 2-year lease on that. Yes, Councillor Vink.
Mayhew, is the lease exactly the same as what it was?
That's what we would be proposing, yes.
Any other questions? Seeing none, would someone entertain to move the motion? Deputy Mayor Schuldice, seconded by Councillor Vink. Last call for questions. All in favor? Carried. HC building, nothing there. It was in the consent agenda. Finance, nothing in the agenda. Oh, CIP, I did. Yep, I sure did. Yeah, pretty important things. Yeah, I got so many notes. My highlighters cover these right up. Okay, so let's go to committee board appointments. I will hand this over to our CAO. We have been in discussion with this over the last day or two. Mike, can you kick off report number 2 there?
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. Strap in for a minute here, folks. This is going to take a few minutes. I just did this with my council, and what a convoluted mess. That's the best word I could use. So let's start off with something really, really easy. So there's going to be a list of resolution that happens here. So we're going to go through the easy ones. I'm to the understanding, are there any committees that you do not want to continue with? This is the season right now, transition to council. When a new council comes in, the councils are all, or the committees are all disbanded, and they all have to be put back together. So is there any that you do not want to carry on with moving forward?
Yes, Deputy Mayor Schuldice.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I think that maybe at a later date, council could discuss the recreation committee and see if we need to continue on with it. I've received comments from people that sat on the committee feeling that it was basically a waste of time and money, and that things weren't getting reported back to council from it. So I just think maybe council could take a look at it later.
Okay, I think in terms of the committee structure, just to from the chair to address that, I think some of these committees, the question may be not whether we get rid of them or not, but how do we modify them to be more effective as well. So that is important. That, but in terms of this, the reference to recreation, I agree that there's could certainly be some improvements on that committee. Would Mike, what would benefit staff to entertain a motion that that committee be re-examined, or what would you? How do you want to proceed with that?
I would, for the time being, take the deputy mayor's good advice and just disband the committee for the time being. Take a bit of a hiatus and revisit it again and reestablish it. You can always reestablish a committee at a later date. You don't have to do it right now, but in this case, the ones that you want to move forward with, we need to start putting committee members on. So if that's not something you're prepared to do as a recreation committee right now, then you would disband it for the time being or leave it disqualified from operation.
Okay. Then would you move that? All right. Is there a second for that? Okay. Councillor Haggett, discussion. Yes, Councillor Choi, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I think choosing our words wisely would be a better way to approach it. I think there are a couple of terms in there that just, there's a lot of hard work and effort that goes into these committees. For the community members being involved, having their input on things, I think is very valuable. And I won't be supporting disbanding the Recreation Committee.
Okay. Any further comment? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Bing.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. This Recreation Committee was formed in the last term. And my opinion is we have a recreation manager, and we could have a committee underneath the recreation manager. I don't see why it should be run by a council member. And so that's one way to get around that and still can have people involved from the community for recreation purposes. And, you know, we're paying people to manage, and that should be part of their job.
And that they did fulfill that function. They were present at every meeting, And they did fulfill that function in terms of a communicating factor between the public and the municipality's administration of business entity. There was communication between them, so they were the recreation committee was not without the director of recreation services and things of that nature. They were there present at every meeting. I share the concerns through other committees. I think it's important that we proceed with the council appointments. I think that every committee should be re-examined. And my primary involvement as mayor in the committees was with economic development. And I can see some significant changes that have to be done in that committee. We'd lost some very capable members over the process of 4 years. And we lost them because of the business profile at the meetings did not engage committee members, and we'd lost some valuable members. So that too has to be re-examined as one. And I would think that as councillors appointed to committees, the first mandate we must have would be to review those committees and to see how we can make them more effective. At one time, and I think Councillor Vink and I both agree that on that economic development committee, there was numerous members on there at one time that was almost burdensome to control meeting. And they have to have a mandate. They have to be structured great. We have to be selective in our community participation as to who's on there that's knowledgeable about the subject matter and can contribute and be engaged, not just sit there, but be engaged in a committee. It's extremely important. And I haven't had a time to discuss this, but very often some councils go into committee of the whole. We can discuss that with Mike at a future date in my weekly conversations with him to discuss how that might possibly involve all of council to discuss, to act as a committee and then move into committee of the whole and exit from committee of the whole and do a report that possibly when we have some attributes in holding. But I selected the committees and was actually quite successful in accommodating the wishes of council on review. And I just feel that the chair is shirking his duty if we do not make some of these appointments to our council at this time. But I agree that I think recreation has to be looked at, economic development has to be looked at. And the others are really structured in such a way that we don't have the same latitude of governing change. But there are some extremely important committees here: the Four Counties Transportation, Tri-County, the fire boards. I would like to proceed with those. Did any communications go out to council on the choices and the selections I made?
Okay, so I will get to that part, Your Worship. What I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to figure out what committees do not want to be proceeded with, and then I can go through each of the individual committees to discuss your recommendations and discuss, what people would like to stand on those committees or will remain as an applicant on them. So right now, we have a motion on the floor.
Okay.
And some discussion was still being held regarding the recreation committee only for this point.
Okay, and I am aware of that in this, as long as it's the understanding that this committee can be reestablished by council, that is correct. And it doesn't have to have a 2/3 majority or anything like that?
No, if you
Okay.
come back, this committee, if it's disbanded, that means you're starting from scratch.
Okay.
You may do that at any time of the year, whenever you like.
All right, sounds good. Okay. Any other comment? Yes, Kendra, please go ahead.
At which time, if you brought it forward, it would come with a new terms of reference for which you would have it would come before you as a council.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay. All right, I think that's necessary. You're not asking for staff to bring back a report on this, okay? Just to abandon it, okay? Yes, Councilor McGill.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I would like to see the Recreation Committee stay. I think it's a very important service we provide. We had a delegation here tonight that mostly talked about things that the Recreation Department provides, and they were wanting us to continue to do that. So if we could have a committee with a couple counselors on it, they wouldn't have to meet that often, to help out with communication between the public and council on what people wanted. I think that would be helpful. I think maybe we could have had more communication on the arena. People that use the arena possibly could have been better informed on what we were doing there and why we were doing it. But yeah, so I would like to see that committee stay. And I also wonder if we disband a committee and then later decide to reinstate it, does that mean we have to have, what, 2/3 support of council to?
No. Okay, so your committees right now are all disbanded. Your change of council, they're not active. So you're just simply not reactivating this one. So to be clear, you're starting from scratch. You could put this committee back anytime you like, council, anytime.
I think it's the perception and the optics I'm concerned about. We have an extensive arena renovation going on. And by disbanding a committee as it is right now, we have to seek new members, and we can seek a mandate going forward. And when you talk of recreation, the people that should be in that committee are not just competitive sports entities. It's the seniors cards, things like that. That's all part of our recreational status. The New Horizons group, the curling arena, the agricultural society, various aspects of that. They could form a vital part of a future ensemble of recreation. And there certainly has been members express interest in recreation through your submissions. And I do feel somewhat uncomfortable, as Councillor Choi does and Councillor Gill as well, in disbanding it instead of moving forward with a vision of change and improvement. But anyway, there is a motion on the floor, and I'm amiss as chair to give those opinions without passing my gavel over. I apologize. But I'll ask for questions if there's any. Councillor Vink, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I know I had discussion before with Deputy Mayor. And so in light of some of the comments here, I know it goes against what I said to the Deputy Mayor, but I feel that we probably do still need the Recreation Committee. What I was hoping was that it would be under the Recreation Supervisor. And because I, again, reiterate that the supervisor is supposed to manage. And I thought that we could get a volunteer committee or whatever under the supervisor, but it doesn't look like that's the wish of the council. So I'm willing to go and stick with the Recreation Committee.
I think any committee doesn't make decisions. They bring back recommendations to staff, and council make the decisions. Mike, you're twitching there. So go ahead.
Yeah. If I may, council, the committees that you're forming here today are committees of council. So there's council representative. Each one of them has a terms of reference, and the terms of reference in this case, there's two, one on one case and three in one other case of members of council that sit on the committees. So generally, the committees are not steered by staff. They are steered by community members and members of council. They act as council, their behaviors like council, and all of the things they do in meeting and minutes and all the recordings are just like council. It's an arm of council. So there is never, ever a committee that falls under a manager or a director or a supervisor. That's not the way they're structured. It's not the way they operate. So in this case, the members of council would sit on the committee with members of the public. They would make recommendations for changes that they would want to see in the community, and they would bring them back to this council for approval. That's the mandate of the committees. So I'll leave it at that. I'll turn it back over to the mayor with the motion, and I think you've had the discussion. I think you're ready to move with the committee and or not, so I can keep moving here.
I agree. Out of courtesy, I'll take one more question. Seeing none. All in favor of the recommendation to disband the committee, please raise your hand. 4. Okay. All in favor, all opposed to the motion of disbanding the committee? 4. The motion is defeated.
Thank you, Your Worship. On that note, could I have a show of hands of who would like to sit on that committee?
I think those recommendations have already been forwarded to you.
They have been. Now, I will discuss this a little bit because there's a bit of a process, so you are aware of. The recommendations have been forwarded. However, under your Southwest Middlesex procedural bylaws, it is council that selects the members for committee. However, I would be remiss because as of the head of council, the mayor has taken and highlighted me some councilors' names that he felt would be beneficial on those communities based on the experience that he's had working with all of you over the course of time and at one point or another. So in this case, from a recreation standpoint, I can see that Councillor Choi and Councillor Haggith have expressed interest on perhaps sitting on the committee if it was still going, which it is now. And that would echo the mayor's compliment on that to sit on that recreation committee. However, I'm asking if there's anybody else would also like to sit on that committee. Okay. So,
And that meets the criteria that, we can certainly change that criteria, but you can go up to how many on that? 3?
no, 2. I need 2. So in this case, I'm just confirming that Councillor Choi and Councillor Haggith would also like to still remain their name standing for the committee. Okay. All right. So now, council, you have the job of voting on 2 of the 3 to be
Okay.
on the committee or have discussion about it. Maybe you'll come to an amicable
The only
resolution.
thing, is there any reconsideration of anyone pulling under that? Okay, go, yes, Councillor
I'd like to
Schultz.
suggest that we have 3 members on it from council. I don't see a problem with that.
Okay, so in order to do that, what we will do is we will have to bring back your terms of reference for reapproval at a later date, but we will note it that these 3 members of council will be on the committee for the time being with the terms of reference to come back at the next meeting to be adjusted.
So we'll have a motion to that effect that terms of reference will be reviewed and the 3 candidates for recreation be allowed to stand. Can I have a motion to that effect? Jody, okay. Councillor Choi, discussion? All in favor? Carried. And thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, if you keep that motion up like Wade, you make my life a lot easier. Okay, so moving ahead, let's do a real easy one. Let's go to Fire Board, which the only person that actually submitted their name to Fire Board was Councillor Vink. And he does also, was there 2? I'm sorry, my bad. He was also the recommendation of the mayor, by the way. And then, oh, sorry, Councillor Choi, right at the top. I missed it, jumped down. So we are looking for 1 person on this committee at this point.
Okay. So yes, Councillor Choi.
Thank you. I can take my name off.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's courteous of you to do that. Councillor Vink, I always look forward to your reports and appreciate your being on there. And thank you, Councillor Choi, for accommodating council. It's quite noble of you. Thank you. Go continue, Mike. Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, Martin, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just want to thank Councilor Choi.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's the kind of cooperation the chair likes to see. I'll watch these hands a little closer. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, the next committee of choice is the Canada Day Committee. And right now, moving into this, Canada Day was Councillor Choi and Deputy Mayor Schuldeis. And those are the recommendation of the mayor as well.
Just to clarify it, Councillor Choi did not choose Canada Day, but I'm well aware of her promotional and marketing abilities. And I highlighted that in a different color, green, as opposed to yellow, that it was my hope that she might consider going on Canada Day. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I would like to allow somebody else to have the opportunity to join that committee,
Okay.
but thank you for thinking.
Okay, Councillor Schuldeis, I am pleased you not. Oh, well, you know what? It might have been, I see it in a different highlight too. The were two colors on that attachment. The ones that were the word appointed. The word appointed left me with the impression that I would consider your wishes and make the suggestions based on accommodating the wishes of council to the best of my ability. But I may have misinterpreted the word appointment. I'm not sure that I did, but I will leave that as a question. The Canada Day Committee is an important function of the community, and there was very little response. Two committees had no response, Canada Day and Lower Thames. And I made recommendations on based on the merits of people associated with those two subjects and their skill level. And Councillor Schuldeis, the reason I put your name on there was your relationship to the Lions Club, because the Lions Club are fundamental drivers of that. We can't do it without them. And I thought perhaps with that relationship between you and the Lions Club, that it may be positive in conveying messages. But I'll leave it to your choice whether you want to participate in that or not. Okay, thank you very much. If the CEO can make note of that, and thank you, Mike.
No problem.
And we accommodated your other the two of your requests. At least the mayor has taken into consideration in regard to the word appointment. Okay, let's keep knocking them off there, Mike.
Okay, so forgive me, I had the name scratched out here too, so it's my fault because there's a big pen eraser on my thing. So we do need one more person to satisfy the terms of reference of the Canada Day Committee yet.
I believe it. Did you? I didn't say. Oh, yeah, Jody Hagan. I got you down for recreation and Four Counties transportation. Jody, that'd be great if you want to go on Canada.
Absolutely.
Super.
Oh, it is in here.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
Working off of 3 sheets.
That's good. Yeah. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. So I'll put you down in my notes as well. And,
I'm only going to go by Kendra's now.
well, I think I copied and pasted the email that I received, so I didn't write it. Okay. I think the chart was copied and pasted.
All good. I said this would be trying.
Okay.
Okay, so the Economic Development Committee, looking for 2 people. Okay, and names coming forward have been presented. Councillor Choi, Councillor McGill, Deputy Mayor Schuldeis, and Mayor Mayhew are the 4 candidates seeking a position on the 2-person committee.
Now, Mike, I can withdraw my name because I can go to any committee meeting, and I can't form part of the quorum.
That's right.
But I can still attend that meeting, and I am still able to voice opinion on that. That's right. Okay, so to involve more of council on that, which I think is important, I will withdraw my name. And with regards, Councillor Schuldeis and Councillor Haggett, on candidate committee, I will be at every meeting. Okay, so you won't be alone on that. Okay, I'll give you all the support I can. And likewise with economic development. So Mike, if I take my name off there, does that make your job a little easier there?
Certainly helps a little bit, yes.
Okay. So who have we got there?
If the mayor can't make it.
No, if the mayor, yeah, you can take my place if I can't make it. Yeah, my attendance is pretty good, but yeah. But might give me a way out if there's a controversial issue, you know. But economic development, I have, you know, it's a great committee, but it did not have the level of engagement from the community that I hoped, and no disrespect to staff at all, but it seemed like it was a regurgitation of administrative reports after administrative reports after administrative reports, and some of those people who had a vast amount of business and development skills were not heard. And I think that this is an example where whoever those members are on this committee, that you know, we sit down with staff to see how we can solve some of the problems of the past and move forward in a more positive manner. It is an extremely important committee, and a prime example would be our most recent event, the pre-Christmas market, was largely driven by Councillor Choi. And that is the type of ideas and imagination that we want on an economic development committee. So did I mess you up, Mike? Okay, how many you got? And- Mhm.
I think I'll withdraw.
Yep. Okay. And thank you. Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. There is a reason for these numbers, Council, as you all know. We don't like to have meetings outside of council to make decisions and recommendations, so that's why we have to keep that. But moving forward, I would suggest to the two councilors whose names are still standing on that committee that we get together and really see what the mandate is and how we move forward in a positive manner with staff who are we're very dependent on staff to give us the guidance and direction to some degree as well. And we want to sit down and make sure that we have a mandate that will engage both our staff and our community, and that we bring back those ideas and recommendations to council in a constructive manner. Okay, move on.
Okay, looking for two candidates for the 4 counties transportation, which I have, names been forwarded to me are Councillor McCallum, Councillor McGill, and Councillor Haggith. So I'm looking for if they're still standing to be on the committee, and if anybody else would like to. Your withdraw, okay.
Thank you.
And then so we're down to 2, unless there's anybody else would like to.
We've got 2 for the 4 counties transfer.
We do.
Okay, and that's what the requirement is.
That's correct.
And from the mayor's chair, Councilor McGill has been very effective on that. There is some, that particular committee have been informed of a supply management problem on chassis of vans, and Mark can speak maybe very, very briefly to that. But Mark has been engaged in discussions and very active. And can you give us a 30-second scenario on that?
Yeah, we're in the process of getting a new bus. The old bus is 7 years old and has 300,000 kilometers on it and is unreliable. We don't have a backup bus. And actually, we're having a meeting on Zoom at 8:30 tomorrow morning. So whoever gets appointed to this committee tonight should attend that meeting. I suppose the staff could,
Yeah, I have the Zoom link and I'll forward it to whomever is appointed to the committee
yeah.
tonight.
And the meeting won't be long. We just have to finalize a few things about options that are available.
Okay.
for this
Thank
bus.
you, Mark, very much. And Don, thank you for putting your name forth on that too. I just would like to remind the two councillors that the highest ridership of that bus is Southwest Middlesex. And this, any annual statistic will identify that.
That's a quick vote on that, just to appoint them.
Okay, all right, so in order to make that meeting. Tomorrow.
No, to get it, the process.
Okay, all right. There was a withdrawal on that. There was 3 and there's 2.
So now it's down to 2, so we're just to appoint, there's only 2 for the committee. Councilor
Okay.
McCollum and Councilor McGill.
Okay, all right. We're good.
We'll just do
don't
it as one resolution.
Yep,
that's
okay.
fine. Perfect. Even
Yeah,
better.
but your job starts tomorrow morning at 8:30, okay? And Dawn, Kendra will connect with you to make sure you're looked after. Okay, thanks, Mike.
No problem. Okay, Lower Thames Regional Conservation Authority. Overwhelming, none of you wanted to be on this committee, so I'm hoping that somebody.
Yeah, Martin, I was kind of hoping that you might reconsider that. Nobody wants the job and it's extremely important. And quite honestly, if nobody wants it, that means that I'll have to take it. Quite honestly, I don't think I got the time.
Well, I'm willing to take it under the guise that I don't always agree with what the conservation authorities do. As you stated at our last meeting, that I can be condescending sometimes. So,
I never said that word condescending ever about you. Never. Nope, I won't
yes,
agree
you
with that.
did, but it
Did
doesn't
I?
matter.
No, I don't.
But anyway, so I don't always agree with what the conservation, like I felt that they have too much power sometimes. So as long as you, the rest of the council know that I don't always agree with conservation authorities, I'm willing to serve Southwest Middlesex
I
on
don't.
that committee.
Yeah, I don't think you have any problem at all serving that committee because after Bill 23,
Right. That's-
they've lost a lot of their autonomy.
Yes,
Okay.
you're right, Mayor. That's why I decided to reconsider.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, are we on the right track
We're
here?
on, unless anybody's running to contest Councilor Vink's appointment to that committee.
And I never said the word condescending. I never said that word about to anybody in my lifetime, I don't think.
Okay, moving through. So let's see who wants to run, not walk, to be on the St. Clair Regional Conservation Authority.
There were some requests on that. Yeah, and we had Dawn and we had Claire. Okay, what am I recommending?
Yeah, there's one spot. 2 counselors
Yeah.
submitted interest.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay, Dawn McCollum, is that correct?
I want to find out.
Yeah, Dawn, that
It
was
was
an interest
Councillor
of yours, I
McCallum
think.
and
St. Clair. Yeah.
Councillor McGill,
Yeah,
and
I-
sorry, Mr. Mayor, we split this with Newberry.
Oh, is that-
This
yeah.
appointment.
Yep.
So it's,
Okay, and it's currently in the hands of Newberry.
yes, and I think in February at their AGM, it will be Southwest Middlesex.
Okay, then can we make note, Mike, that on the expiry of Newberry's participation in St. Clair, that it will come back to Southwest Middlesex. And alternates. Okay, so and Don McCollum would be the recipient of that position.
Don or Mark McGill.
Okay,
So-
okay. Oh, you had your name down there too. eh? Okay. All right, well, it'll be one or the other, then we can discuss it at that time. Yeah, or,
I'm already on 2 committees, so if Councilor McCollum would like to be on St. Clair Region Conservation, I will withdraw.
okay. All right, that's great.
That will be done. Last but not least, Tri-County Water Board. Everybody wants to be on this. committee.
Yeah, it is. I don't know why, because your liability is huge. Punishable by a $500,000 fine or 5 years in jail. So if you make the wrong decisions. So anyway, I historically there is 3 positions on there, and I historically the mayor and deputy mayor have sat on that. It is an extremely important issue in terms of the product we deliver, and the amount of money is at hand. And anyone in an executive position on council has got a lot to learn on that. It's quite the committee. We rely on the services, of course, of Aqua. They are present at every meeting, giving us briefings on it, and advising us of issues and concerns. But okay, so I did make the recommendation that the deputy mayor sit on that. And again, as mayor, I would like to sit on that committee. I don't have the same luxury, Mike, as walking into that meeting and participating.
Councillor McCollum had it down as his first choice, and Councillor Choi has also got it in her list potentially as well.
Okay, and we can pick one of Councillor Choi. Or,
Councillor Choi has a comment.
yeah, go ahead, Amy. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I can withdraw my name from that.
All right.
Then we are set.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Choi. But boy, in the future, I hope you can sit on that committee. Yeah.
Okay. So bear with me here. So the council make appointments of members of the council to the following board and committees. Economic Development will be Councillor Choi, Councillor McGill. Recreation Committee will be Councillor Haggith, Councillor Choi, Councillor Myers, with the terms of reference being adjusted at a later date by our municipal clerk. Canada Day Committee will be comprised of Deputy Mayor Scholdice and Councillor Haggith. Brooke Alvinston Fire Board will be Councillor Vink, and our 4 counties transportation will be Councillor McCollum, Councillor McGill. Lower Thames Regional Conservation Authority will be Councillor Vink with great joy. St. Clair Regional Conservation Authority will be Councillor McCollum, and Tri-County Water Board will be the mayor, the deputy mayor, and Councillor McCollum.
Okay.
Okay, there's your resolution.
Thank you.
Now we do need to move this
Sure
part
do.
and then do everything.
We sure do.
Take it from
Okay.
there.
You've heard the resolution as expressed by our co-CAO. Would someone entertain to move the resolution as read? Councillor Choi, a seconder for that. Councillor Vink. Questions directed through the chair to our co-CAO? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Council, I'd just like to compliment you on the harmonious way in which you did that, and to thank Mr. Henry for his organizational skills in that as well. Okay. I hope Tim Center do that just as effectively. Okay. Anyway, thank you. And I know there was a sacrifice from many around the council horseshoe, and I appreciate that. CIP year-end report. Kristen, Sheila is not with us this evening. I don't want to take joy away from her. Is she? She's not with us. So could you give this on behalf of Ms. McCann?
I hope I can do her justice. But she's submitted the report in front of you that shows the year-end report, so the activity that's happened throughout the year. There's been one request withdrawn, and she's requested that the time frames for a couple of the applications be extended into the new year. So it gives a bit of a background on the approval of the plan and the intention, the application summary, and some pictures of the before and afters for the improvements. So you can see what a difference this has made to our downtown.
And she's recommending that we include an additional $20,000 in the 2023 budget to continue the program.
Okay, and as the recommendation is basically to receive the report, and the application is acknowledged that the one application on 231 Main Street will be withdrawn, and that we extend the time frame to deal with two issues that we are all familiar with: the labor and supply issues for some of these businesses that want to proceed. Are there any questions in regard to this recommendation? Seeing none, the chair asks if someone would entertain that report be accepted, that 231 Main Street be withdrawn, and the time frame be extended into 2023 to accommodate the supply issue. Thank you, Councillor Choi. Is there a seconder for that? Councillor McGill. Any questions? And I'll call the motion. All in favor? Carried. And we certainly want to thank Sheila McCann for the work that she's done. It's transformed the community greatly. And we certainly want to see some of this extend beyond the main streets of Glencoe into Melbourne and Wardsville and even Appin area. If you look at the terms of reference of our CIP, it is extremely broad. It can even go to farm gate marketing. So be aware of that, and everyone without exception can benefit for this in the service industry or retail industry. Okay, we've got that. And I don't think I missed any, Mike, so I think we're good. And so 8C is building, there's none. 8D, finance. We're going to get lots of conversation on that through our budget discussions. Operations, AD, donor board. There's a recommendation brought forward that council approve the addition of a donor board to the Southwest Middlesex Recreation Center. And I believe that Councillor McGill may have put forth this idea, and we appreciate that, Mark. Mark, would you like to speak to that, or any counsel on that? I don't know whether it's a figment of my imagination, but I thought you came up with that.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I think I did bring up the idea that I thought we should fundraise. I know most other arenas have done that, and they've got some significant size donations from some members of the community. So I will support this recommendation. I will make the motion.
Okay. Is there a seconder for that? Oh, yeah. I'll get a seconder, and I have questions too, Jody. So, yeah, you'll second it, Don. Thank you. Moved by Councillor McGill, second by Councillor McCollum. Questions, Jody? Councillor Haggett, please go ahead.
Well, I think it's a good idea, but I was looking around, and if you look at the curling arena, their donor board is virtual. It's on their website, updated all the time. And at this time, I think it's a good idea. But the way the arena is, I would sooner revisit this when the arena is complete, so the ratepayers or the people that want to look and choose to donate can see the finished product.
Yeah.
And in my past experience and stuff, some people that want to donate don't want you digging out $500 for a plaque when they're giving you money to put towards the arena. Just saying, just a suggestion. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think, it's warranted. There's no question at all that you'd like to see the money going in capital improvements. I think in terms of recreation, I think money could always be forthcoming. We hope that's it. And it would also put some responsibility on the communications end of staff, that you'd have to market it in some way and put the word out through our website that there is donations, and there's always criteria with donations. Some people want their names announced, some people want to be anonymous. Sometimes there's certain levels of donations, as we've seen this evening on the Four Counties Hospital. various categories of donations, how they're honored on that plaque. So it's not just a case of putting a plaque up. There have to be limitations. Kristen has her hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you. You'll see after the initial report that Ashley has put together, she did a lot of the research on this and considered several areas for different donation levels, and then put together terms of donations, which I think is kind of what you're referring to, sir. Recognizing where council could choose the type of donor board, so whether it be virtual or something inside. We looked at a lot of different ideas for that, but she's also included letters and flyers that we could send to local businesses, examples of social media posts, those types of things. She's drafted ideas for those for council's consideration as well. But absolutely the type of board or the type of recognition that's still to come. Council can still approve that. But at this point, if council chooses to go forward with the donation plan, we can look at the terms of the donations and approve the kind of the thresholds, and we can proceed with the flyers and social media posts if you choose.
Thank you, Kristen. Any further questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Just two quick questions. Have we received any donations yet? And if we don't go the virtual route, what is the cost of the donor board?
Kristen, if you could, whether we're at that stage yet of investigations, I'm not sure. And there's nothing wrong with virtual. That is a good way to go too. Those are considerations. I think we're accepting in principle, I think, the aspect of, accepting donations for the arena, and how and when and what is the best method of marketing behind that can come back to council in a report from Ashley. But I think what we're looking for here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, I think it's the acceptance in principle of the donation board. Or do you want this recommendation as it's stated? Let's just check it again. Yeah, there's not a lot of details in the recommendation. We have the report before us, but am I wrong? Is that we're not endorsing the entire report? We're endorsing the principle of it. What is the intention?
I didn't draft the report, Your Worship, so I would say that the way it's worded, it's just you are drafting in principle the board, whatever that looks like, that can be determined by council at a later time.
Okay.
This is just to move forward with it as in principle, I believe, and I'm going to get another odd from my co-CAO, so that's it.
I see Councillor Choi's hand up. Please go ahead, Councillor Choi.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. Just more of a comment. I do believe that if we're sending out letters to businesses, that they should know if it's going to be a virtual or an actual physical plaque. That may change their minds, perhaps. I'm not sure, but I do think that they should know ahead of time.
Okay, and we would be in the process. This is not going to happen tomorrow. We have a lot of determining factors to decide, and the current state of the arena, we're a ways away from that point, but it will have to be put on staff's radar, and we'll have to work at it with some expediency and make sure we proceed with it as council wishes. Councillor McGill, I think I saw you with your hand up.
I agree with what Councillor Choi said, although I wonder if, and I don't think we would spend anything right at this time on an actual physical board. We'd wait till much later when we actually had quite a few names and decide at that point how we were going to do it. If it was a physical board, to me, if we changed anything, we maybe would drop that bronze level $100 to $499 on an actual physical board, because there is a cost to printing these things up. And if you had a virtual board, you could include that level in the virtual board. But those kind of things we could decide later.
Yep. Yep. I think there's options. There has been some criticism, of course, we've all been through it, of the cost of the arena. And I think it's contrary to say you're not going to accept donations from the public when the public are concerned about the cost. Anything we can help to mitigate any of that cost would be, I think, fiscally responsible. And there are people who are passionate about recreation, and there are people who would, I know of several that would be happy to donate to help facilitate a structure or direct the money to something that is not in, that is currently not there, but as was indicated, rather than to know where their money is being invested. Yes, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Mayor, so I'm just wondering if we should change the recommendation to that we're just right now accepting donations with to determine at a later date how we're going to honor them or recognize them.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we could even do better than that, Mike, that we accept in principle moving forward to a donation program to the arena, and that do you want a recommendation, a tighter recommendation to come back, or do you want this to come back as a recommendation, or it can be modified?
You're sort of talking about two different subjects entirely. So this is just for the board. So as if I can help steer you, council, I would just say that you're deferring that the board for now, and to work with the treasurer on how donations can be accepted moving in, because I think that's kind of carbon that you can do that now at any time.
Okay.
So right now you're just talking about the board and maybe just deferring it
Okay.
to a later date.
So that we, yeah, I would like that if the message could go out that we are, the council will entertain donations being received, and that recognition of those donations will be made in an appropriate manner at a later date. Is that, Kristen, is that?
Okay. So friendly amendment to the recommendation that's on the report right now, if I may, is that council directs staff to create some marketing or some awareness to the ability to donate to the arena project currently, and discussion will ensue regarding a donor board for the Southwest Middlesex Recreation Center in the future.
That sounds
Some form of.
Yep, I think that's good. So we can give the privilege to the community of donating money if they wish, and we will recognize those donations in the future in an appropriate manner. We'll have to discuss that. Someone entertain that motion. Councilor, Deputy Mayor, a seconder for that. Councilor Choi. All in favor? Carried. And the communications can go out if our communications officer can be advised of that, and if Sheila McCann has any concerns at all, she can always approach council in the near future. Sheila's off on a break right now, well-deserved break, and she'll be at our disposal over the course of the next week. Okay, sidewalk, well, arena renovation, recommendation for information. That, if you could clarify this recommendation and that statement there, I have a question mark before it. The verbiage of it, could you clarify number 2 for me, what you're looking for and what the recommended motion is, just for information?
The council just received a report for information,
Okay,
correct?
got it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
A motion can be entertained for that, and we'll ask for questions if I have a moment.
I'll give you a brief overview, then
Yep.
might take away the questions if that helps.
Yep, okay.
Okay. All right. So your arena project started here April 1st of 2022, and it was slated to be completed January of 2023. Now, I came on to scene a little bit later, so I'm kind of getting up to speed. I'm well aware of arena projects, built many myself. And in fact, the architect reached out to me and was ensuring that I would be on site periodically just to check on things. You have a very good architectural firm, by the way. They're good at what they do. You have fallen victim to a couple decisions. There was a generator, I understand, that was removed from the project. Therefore, there's a separate distribution package that needed to be ordered. It has an extensive time for delivery. It's unfortunate. COVID did not help these circumstances. You have a lot of things that are coming in late. You're actually going to see your arena come to a bit of a crawl with the construction that happens, and you're going to see days that there's nobody there, plain and simple, because they're waiting on this and they're just not going to spend time on the project. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm also going to tell you fairly that you are not the only municipality in this boat. There are many like this, not that that makes it better because this is your municipality, but there are others out there that are seeing these delays and the same that comes with this. The one thing that I could agree with wholeheartedly on was that they are not going to work on that floor until the frost is out. Because if they do that over the winter, you are going to have extra costs that will be incurred with pouring that slab in the winter. So you're better to leave it now and eat it the way it is. So the last piece on this, and you'll notice I'm talking quite quickly, but this is an industry I understand like the back of my hand. So I will be very clear. You will have revenue losses that will happen between January and April because you're renters, but you will not have losses. Because if you're like every other arena in this country, you're losing between $300,000 and $600,000 a year on operating. So you will not have those operating expenses that are going to be on top of it. That will not be offset by the revenue you would have taken in anyway. You do have a displacement, however, to your community. So this is something that you needed to be aware of. You needed to understand because you're going to have phone calls, you're going to have inquiries. And you need to know that the supply chain has backed this up, and we are not any different than any other community. We cannot get things faster. I anticipate you may be done in May, if I'm going to tell you a truthful timeline. You'll be ready to go for September of 2023 in your operations, and you will not lose your designation. Your OMHA designation runs with your community. That doesn't go by the wayside because you've had players dispersed wherever they've gone to play. That will come back to your hub here and you'll be able to start pulling things back together at that point.
Yeah, there'll have to be some serious marketing too to attract clients as well. Kristen, you wrote this report. It's very good. Anything you can add to that at all? We appreciate the submission and for information and your name's on this. As a courtesy, I certainly want you to speak to it.
I think Mike covered it all.
Okay, all right. Then a recommendation that the report be received for information. Have we got that? Councilor McCollum, Councilor Haggett, questions? Yes, one. Go ahead, Councilor Shoulders.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'd just like to thank staff for the report. It's important that we keep the public informed on this.
Yeah, that's great. It's 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 not as Mr. Henry said, it's not a revenue loss. So we'll and it may end up if we have the patience to wait a little longer, it'll certainly end up with a better quality product, as he indicated as well. Okay, we've got that. Did we call that vote? Did we call that? No, we didn't. Okay, all in favor that be received for information? Carried. Sidewalk clearing contract. Chris, Mike or Kristen. Mike, I'll let you go first, and Kristen can clarify the finance end of it. Go ahead, Mike.
Let's see if I can save my counterpart some words here. Okay, so I'm going to trim up your recommendation. We had a chance to look at this report when I came in this morning. We were talking about some situational things that came with this. This is a contractor you've had for quite some time. This contractor has charged you on a clearing basis. This year, the contractor has come to the table with a per season pricing, which has actually taken you and exceeded your procurement purchasing threshold. So therefore, it did not go to the process of procurement. So reeling it back with that value that is assigned to this contract, I'm going to recommend a couple different things. Is one, it should go for tender. That is, there's no question about that. But due to the timeline, instead of going with the single source recommendation, what I'd rather see you do as a municipality is accept the pricing for the months of November and December of 2022 with this contractor, and that is within the procurement guideline. Staff would then prepare a tender document that would go out, and the term of January, February, March, November, December would be sent out as a tender for 2023, then becoming in a fiscal situation. So right now, I would say move forward with what you have. And you know you've got somebody that's got the WSIB, got the liability, got everything that's purchased for this, because getting liability for winter snow clearing is valuable, let alone finding someone that's got the right equipment and got the right people on staff to do this for you. This municipality, to my understanding, does not have the equipment to do this. That's one. And two, to turn around and try to muddle to find somebody right now, I would stick with who you've got until December 31st. But like I said, in the meantime, a tender will be prepared. It will go out and someone will be able to properly tender, and everybody will have a chance to bid on the 2023 pricing. Little bit unorthodox switching midterm in this situation, but that'll get you online and you can put the tender out a lot sooner next year to stay on the fiscal year. That's just my recommendation. I'm sure you have questions.
Any discussion on that? I'm looking for hands. Yes, Councillor Vink.
We're just about halfway through December. Will we have enough time to, with Christmas and all that, will we have enough time for people to tender?
You don't have a choice. It's a situation that exceeds your procurement policy, and staff will have to have this ready by about noon tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Deputy Mayor Schultes.
Thank you for this. Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Thank you for the solution, and I'll move the recommendation.
Okay. Seconder for that. Okay. Councillor Haggett. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Myers, I didn't miss your hand, did I? Ed, okay, you're in favor of that, okay. Yes, Kendra.
Through you to Mayor Schultes, I just want to confirm that, or Deputy Mayor Schultes, to add to the recommendation, it was for the 22 season, and then staff prepare a document for the term of 2023.
Yes, okay, that would be great. Okay, got that. We're at number 9 on the agenda. Clock's ticking here, folks. I know 2 hours is the most effective time period of the council for decision making, and we're getting close to 2 hours. Councillor Vink, you have noticed a motion regarding Phragmites. Would you like to speak to it?
Yes, please, Mayor Mayhew. Yes, I had a conversation with the Deputy Mayor of West Elgin, Richard Leatham, and they have a program for Elgin County. It's done by a licensed contractor, and he's very satisfied with the program. And right now would be a good time to look into it, because I don't recall it being this dry, and I see the Phragmites are almost half dying. So this coming year might be a perfect time to go ahead with this. Of course, this is a Middlesex County decision, but I think we should advise them of our wishes.
Okay. Is there, we'll ask for questions on this. Are there any questions on this currently? I think that Phragmites is a real problem, and the county has, as recently as 3 weeks ago, cut Phragmites, and I understand they also sprayed that Phragmites as well. But Elgin have a great program on this, and I know about it through the Tri-County Water Board. Some of their reservoirs have had Phragmites growing in them, and on the recommendation of Aqua, they had to get rid of that. And there is equipment that actually drowns Phragmites. You cut the Phragmites below the water line in some cases, and it drowns the Phragmites stem's not up through the water to oxygenate the root of the plant, so you can drown primatives. But in its roadsides, it's sometimes not difficult to get that equipment. It's very difficult to get that equipment in there. But the only thing that I'm concerned about is the language of the recommendation. To send a letter to Middlesex County to enact the same program as Elgin County, or to emulate them exactly. We're asking them. I'm wondering if to send a letter of inquiry to investigate the program in Elgin County and consider adopting it in Middlesex County, so that it allows staff to do a communication, to get on the phone, call them. What are you doing? How much does it cost? But you're telling them to do it, as opposed to asking them to consider. And so, am I wrong in asking you to soften that language a little bit?
You're not. Mayor.
Okay, good, because I really applaud you for bringing that forward. I'd just like to see it softened a little bit, Kendra. So if it was something to the effect the council approved to send a letter of inquiry to Middlesex County to investigate the success of the Elgin program and to consider it for application in Southwest Middlesex. Something to that effect. And I'll certainly ask for questions. Councillor Choi, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's a great idea. Thank you for bringing that forward. I wonder if we're almost being a little bit too narrowed by just suggesting Elgin County program. I've heard Lambton Shores does a fantastic program as well. Maybe if we request that they look into whichever programs that our neighboring counties are doing, maybe that'll better our options.
You can speak on your own behalf, Councillor Bink, but sitting at the county and knowing them, I think, and that's an excellent suggestion, Councillor Choi. We've mentioned Elgin County. Could we say Elgin County and Lambton Shores and other neighboring municipalities? I'd like them to give them focus on this letter. They no doubt are aware of the program, and it is an expensive program. We will know, are they doing it along their sides of the roads? And I think your intent was to offer this to private landowners as well, once we get some formulation of the best way to do it and who can do it. Yeah, go ahead, Martin.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Allen. I accept all friendly amendments.
Yeah, okay, all right. But I appreciate the Lambton Shores example. It seems this particular geographical region is really inundated. It's an extremely invasive weed. And I understand, speaking to some of our local farmers, that they were actually paid to grow this at one time, according to some of the profits. Yeah, believe it or not. Okay, Kendra, you're gonna need some help here, I'm sure.
No, I think I got it. I just need a seconder.
Okay, seconder for that? You're good. Councillor Choi, she certainly deserves to second that. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Councillor Choi, 9B, notice of motion regarding the inclusion of a subject in the budget and your recommendation, timeline. Would you like to speak to this?
Yes, please. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just asking for a report back in a timeline, or about a timeline and possibility for a new and inclusive and accessible park in the community of Wardsville, and that staff include that accessible and inclusive park in the 2023 budget discussion. We all have seen the facility and recreations master plan, and this is one of the recommendations, and I'm just trying to get ahead of things and plan ahead, putting money aside before having a big lump sum all at once in the future. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yep, no, and it's a noble notice of motion. Wardsville, we certainly want part of the equation in the budget. Any questions? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Vink.
Yeah, I have a couple of points. I did send an email to Kristen asking about the Little Tim Park and what could be used. I know the playground can be used. There's, I know people here that play baseball, many games. I play many games on that park. And I think temporarily there should be only an area cordoned off and that the rest of the park still be used. Now, this park is in the center part of Wardsville. And so any other, at this time, I don't foresee, I'm not in agreement to look at another park because of, we are maybe gonna build a fire hall. At that time, then we could look into it. I think we should try and utilize this park more so than what we're doing right now.
That could be, I agree, Councillor Vink, that Littleton Park is an ideal location in the community. It's right dead in the center and the drainage is good. We know that we have a burial ground on that site, but I think it's an extremely limited, from my conversations with historians in the area, that it compromises an insignificant portion of the footprint as compared to the entire magnitude of that area. And I think it's unfortunate that we have not been able to acquire the imaging equipment that we need to determine the exact location of those grave sites, but we are in the queue, as I understand. And I agree that that location could be done, but I would also think that the intention of the notice of motion is for playground equipment for children. And it really, the subject of a new fire hall and a community center could be a separate entity unto itself. And we could certainly have, I think it would be in order to, as from my vantage point, to have playground equipment for children on the horizon at some point. Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Mayhew, just for clarification. So is this motion to purchase more property or playground equipment?
So through you to Deputy Mayor, I think we would need to acquire land in order to build a new park. But then again, it also costs money to acquire land too. So I think any sort of money that we could set aside now with the future plans of having that park is what I'm requesting.
Just to clarify, you have no aversions if that land was Littleton Park, to that?
As long as it could be accessible and inclusive and meet the criteria of the rec plan.
Okay, yes, Deputy Mayor Schultes, follow up.
Just, I think it's a good idea. It just seems a little premature to be doing it now when we don't know what's going on at Littleton Park.
It doesn't, but in terms of our budgeting aspect, many of these things sometimes have to be phased. In terms, we know what the cost of a park is, and we can use Appen as an example. With those are current numbers, and it is valuable information in terms of acquiring that now. And I'll let Kristen, but in terms of the budgeting, we're looking at putting this in the budget, and we may have to phase this over, put this in reserves over a period of time to acquire that. Before your question, Mike, I'm going to let our treasurer get in on this. It may clarify some of your concerns as well.
Thank you. I think what Amy's, sorry if I'm paraphrasing, but we did this with the Appen Park too. We had put money away for a couple of years in anticipation of putting something down. So we could do that over the next couple of years in the budget, put a little bit of money away, and then work towards something that meets with our needs for the fire hall and the rec master plan. And that way, hopefully then we will have been able to pinpoint exactly what we can and can't use in the areas in that park. But in the meantime, we will have put some money aside for
And
it.
those are my thoughts exactly, and thus I use the word phasing this project over a period of time. Councillor Scholz, thanks for your patience.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. Just if we're making a recommendation here, what is the dollar amount that we're going to be recommending?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, your worship. Okay, so you're asking for some specifics here. We just built one of these in Temp Center, so I'm going to lend you some of that information. Committee came together late in 2021. The park was built in 2022, so it was completed. It wasn't ready for a specific date, but I would say it only took about 6 months to actually build. To give you an idea, if you're talking about an exclusive AODA park, like an inclusive AODA only park, you're talking $400,000. So that's something, so there's your budgetary amount right now. So if that's what you want to do, you don't need a big piece of land. Quite frankly, it's all done with cushion flooring and that kind of thing, and lots of great features for the community. But I hopefully have just saved you a ton of time.
How much land was that one that you're referring to?
The
What
size
size
of this room, yes, maybe a little larger. So if you want to ever take a look at it, I'll take you for lunch tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I sat on the accessibility and approved that application, so I am familiar with what Mike is talking about. And but you know, I wouldn't go as far as saying that we are going to emulate something like that exactly. I think we're going to be makers of our own destiny, and that is a very good example that Mike has given you. But we want this all inclusive. Yeah, all inclusive, and it will be. And we're really mandated to do it that way. Councillor Fink.
Mayor Mayhew, of course, we could do that at the Wardsville Kim Park. I think the one thing we have to remember is, I believe the municipality owns the Wardsville Kim Park. And so we would be in a situation where we have two parks in Wardsville if we went ahead with this idea. And so that's something to take into account as well.
Yeah, but I don't think we're knocking Little Kid Park off the list in terms of acquiring that. We're just merely saying that we want this to be a part of the 2023 budget, and that we will start putting money away. Councillor Choi, go ahead. If I misrepresented you, I apologize. Go ahead.
Thank you. No, you did great. It's in the rec master plan that we keep Littlekin Park and have it be passive use, but also to have a new park put in place. So it's not my decision saying, oh, I think we need another park. It's something that's been recommended. And I'm just hoping to put money aside so it's not a big amount all at once versus putting money aside before the project starts.
And that's the chair's understanding of it. But Councillor Vink, I will support your enthusiasm on Littlekin Park's location. Okay, I don't disagree with you at all. But I don't think that's what we're trying to focus on here right now. But in the future, if there's any comfort to you, I will certainly be an advocate of that statement that you made of Littlekin Park. I think it is a good location. But we need to put money away in a responsible manner so that it is easier on our tax rate. And we may have to do this over, I would love to see this in this term of council develop, but it may take us in our third or fourth year to do it in a financially responsible manner. Yeah, Councillor Scholz.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. I'm just a little uncomfortable with the wording of a future park. If we could change it to like the accessible playground equipment, I think I could support it. But I agree with Councillor Vink that I don't think we don't need two parks in Wardsville, we just need one. That would include this playground equipment.
And I should add too that rec master plan is a roadmap. Okay, it's not something definitive that we have to do exactly as is in writing. Okay, it is a roadmap to follow, and we can examine the map, and we'll have staff and consultants that will guide us in that manner. Okay, Councillor Choi, is there any amendments that you and Councillor Scholdice can come to agreement on, or do we just bring this forward to council as it's ready?
If
Yeah.
I may, I'm good with changing the wording to inclusive and accessible playground equipment.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much. And again, council, you have shown a great example of harmony. I like that word, harmony. Okay, first of all, Councillor Choi, I want to thank you very much for bringing this notice of motion forward. It is important, I think, to all of us that awards will be recognized in the budget process. Any other questions? We have a mover. Have we got a mover and a seconder for this, Kendra? Okay. We have a mover? Second. Okay, good. We've talked about this at length. The chair will call the question. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Motion's carried. Okay. Correspondence and petitions. Unfinished business, there's none. New business, we dealt with the items in the consent agenda. County council and conference updates. None. Announcements, councilors. Anything in your wards that you'd like to announce? Okay, I would just like to advise you that a thank you letter went out on behalf of council, administration, and staff to every volunteer organization in Southwest Middlesex, wishing them best wishes at Christmas and the value that they give our municipality. And in addition to that, letters went out to the Southwest Middlesex fire departments, and we also sent those to our brothers and sisters in firefighting in Almaston and Melbourne on behalf of council, administration, and staff. I advise you that, and it's a significant database. No other announcements? The bylaws are before you. They are, I think it's important that as a bylaw, we will read them quickly. Bylaw 2022-101 being a bylaw to amend the zoning bylaw of 3427 Concession Drive. Bylaw 2022-102 being a bylaw to appoint an animal control officer, London Middlesex Humane Society. Bylaw 2022-103 being a bylaw to amend the fees and charges bylaw, building fees. Bylaw 2022-104 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on December 14th. May I have a motion to move first, second, and third reading? Councillor Vink, seconder for that. Councillor McCollum, questions? All in favor? Carried. And may I have a motion to go in committee of the whole in camera to discuss, what do we got here? As per section 239 of the Municipal Act, to consider the following: labor relations or employee negotiations, more specifically collective agreement. A motion to that effect. Councillor McGill, seconded by Councillor McCollum. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Mayor. Your pleasure to have the gavel.